Welcome to WeTaku Anime Reviews, for this month, weekly podcast, in which we get together to discuss, wait for it, movies! It's a whole new thing. Summer is a great time, and June is the month of movies.
It's not new, but
I didn't say
it's
new.
an event.
Did I say new?
You did say new.
It's our second year. It's like newish. It's fine. God, we've been doing this for a while.
Yeah.
Ugh.
Like, what, a year and a half or something?
Help.
It's 2.5 years.
What? No, that's not true.
No way.
That's not true.
No, you're right. You're
It's
right.
1.5.
Year and a half.
Yeah, alright, better. Alright. Heart attack gone. I'm Jovan, one of your hosts, and with me are my three regular co-hosts. Introduce yourselves, please, help me.
Hey, I'm Thomas, and I love Ghost in the Shell, 1995.
Okay, fair enough. I'm Steven, and I recently bought a Dakimakura, as you can see behind me.
3 lewd, 5 me.
It's not very lewd.
Is that...
It's Megamine from Konosuba.
I haven't seen that. Okay.
And
But I've seen a lot of best girl threads on
You would actually probably like Konosuba. You have a sense of humor. I have a sense of humor.
I'm Allan, and these guys won't let me replace my face with an anime girl.
No, he wants to replace his face with a mocap anime girl. That's the problem. It sounds horrifying.
Oh, wait, like,
Face.
live you want to do that?
Yeah.
Yep.
Oh, yeah. Oh, boy. No.
Oh. Nope. Band, stop, please.
I'll do it one of these days.
Oh god, we can't even stop you. You're the entire production. Alan, don't abuse your power, no.
It's gotta be something terrible, though. Like the main character from Mars of Destruction or something.
I vote Bunny Girl from Roka of the Braves.
Oh.
I'm sure there is one. There'd have to be a pre-made model, because I don't know how to do that crap.
Anyway, what movie are we watching today, Jovan?
No, I need to discuss mocap for at least another hour. Today, we are discussing, as Thomas said a little bit ago, Ghost in the Shell 1995, the original one and nothing else. We are not going to talk about any other version of Ghost in the Shell, which I understand there are a lot, including the recent one.
So there's
There are a couple series.
Yeah, so I want to break this down real quick for people. So there's the show, which you can watch without the movie, and it's fine. The second season
It's
goes
standalone.
into people. Right. Yeah. So it has no relation to the movie at all. There's a remake of this movie. From what I understand, it's not worth watching. I haven't seen it though. And then there's the second movie, which is dull and it gets too philosophical, which is a little something that you might not imagine. And it just got a little dumb, but it was still interesting, and I think it's all right. And then I have not seen the live-action movie yet.
And I'm sure there's also a Japanese live action that's hidden in there like all anime have.
I don't think there is.
For the record, Rurouni Kenshin, 3 live action movies, all of them pretty okay. I'm just putting it out there.
As good as the OVA?
No.
No?
No, live action movies like are fundamentally bad, but it's an okay fundamental. Like it's the best live action anime movie I've seen. The Higurashi one's really bad. Just putting it out there. Anyways, Ghost in the Shell. All right. So those of you who don't know, the story takes place in the not too distant future, potentially kind of distant future.
It's cyberpunk.
Cyberpunk
Isn't it
future.
like 2030 something?
Not too distant it is. Where we follow a character named the Major, also known as Motoko, has a last name.
Kusanagi.
Thank you. Or first name, as it were. As she tries to figure out who the puppet master is, somebody who's been hacking into people's brains. In this world, you can have your body cybernetically enhanced to the extent that even she has had, where she's essentially just a brain in a metal tank.
Yep.
But she can still drink, so that's kind of cool, I guess. She can choose to get drunk. She can turn off the alcohol filter.
Mild spoilers for the show. She's been a cyborg since she was 6. And like that's kind of why she's like so special, because she has like had so much experience and so much work put into her as being a cyborg, and that's why she's like the special main character.
That actually,
Okay.
that almost bothers me a little bit, but I'll talk about that later.
That wasn't
Because-
put into the movie.
Mm-hmm. No.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
And I don't think it would have had a place in the movie, but I'm gonna bring that up in a little bit. Because the movie has a lot of themes in it. Lot of themes. But the biggest one is, what's the difference between a human and a robot? As Mass Effect 2 or Mass Effect 3, does this unit have a soul? Is essentially the question. For anybody who likes the Geth, you're gonna fucking love this movie. A
You know,
lot.
I just realized this now. There were some parallels I saw, but I just watched Westworld not long ago as that was airing. So if you've seen Westworld, like the HBO show, yeah, this is like that, but actual sci-fi rather than set in like a Wild West simulation thing.
And if you
like-
liked Battlestar Galactica before it went off the deep end,
Yeah, everything down to like how it showed the robots being made is the exact same as Westworld, though.
I feel like you should flip those orders, but yeah.
I mean,
Well,
Westworld was
yeah,
a book
yeah,
along
that's-
like in the 60s.
Oh,
Yeah,
touche.
the first like Westworld movie was like 1965 or something, so it's
I
real
stand
old.
corrected.
Yeah,
I was not aware
but-
that there was like an original Ye Olde version.
Yeah,
Maybe.
but anyhow, not to derail, but it's a good comparison.
This is
Yeah.
derailed the show, by the way. This episode.
This is a great episode. Get out.
Let me just pull up Face Rig.
No, please
Okay,
help.
no, we're gonna
Nope.
continue.
Keep moving on. No, but before we head into the spoiler section, that was the base synopsis. Before we head into spoiler section, there's some things I actually really want to talk about that we can hit without spoiling the actual plot of the movie. Most importantly for me, Thomas, last episode, recommended that we watch this dubbed. Now, I've seen Ghost in the Shell twice now, once subbed, once dubbed. You're saying you don't remember saying that.
I watched half of it dubbed, or to the point where she's on the boat, and I just couldn't stand it anymore. Like, I've watched the show dubbed. The show's dubbed fine. The movie's terrible.
Now, when I want to talk about the dub for a little bit, or the dub versus the sub, because the sub is going in like, if you've seen anime before, especially with like the stoic main woman character, then like you are ready for the Ghost in the Shell sub. But for the dub, they did something very interesting that I'm not sure how I felt about during the first half of the movie, but for the second half, I was actually kind of into it. That would be the voice casting choice of the Major as, like, the plainest woman you will ever hear talk. Like, a very casual woman, but not, like, trying to act, like, too robot-y or anything. Just kind of sounds like a person. Like a mom in a 1970s sitcom. Now, this could be a problem, like, especially because seeing the sub, it's definitely, like, it's a huge difference. Even her character feels like it changes with the different voices. But I choose to think of it as the Major, who's been a cyborg since she was 6, is still somewhat human, though she struggles with the idea of humanity versus her own body. And I kind of like the fact that the dubbed version, it forces you to acknowledge her as fundamentally human, more so than the sub did for me, at least. And I thought that was interesting.
I felt like the sub had more of a struggle if what you're saying is that she comes across more human, because I don't think she's supposed to. She's supposed to be at this crossroads and she doesn't know what she...
Well, she still didn't feel like human. She felt weird, especially with like her lines clashing with her voice. But I kind of took that clash as another part of the crossroads.
Having only watched the dub, like, I wouldn't have considered that as, like, a part of, like, the whole debating whether or not she's human or robot. Like, having only watched the dub, that didn't come across at all. She just sounded like a person would, I guess. She definitely sounded human. And I don't know, I didn't get any of that conflicting opinion, I guess.
Ah, well, teach their own. I honestly thought it did add to that.
I can understand if you watch the sub how you could notice that.
It's
with differences,
a
but
completely different experience.
I only watched it dub, but I do want to say I thought the dub was fine. Like,
It was
better than
definitely a
most
90s
things
dub,
but I think it was better than most 90s dub, personally.
yeah, for sure.
So,
But it's still like it's never gonna excel past
it's not
a
great.
90s dub.
No, yeah.
Alan, you were about to say something?
Oh no, I was gonna look up a voice actor, actually.
Oh, I see. All right. A few other points then. Other than that, yeah, I wanted to point out, yeah, this is a hella 90s dub, and the sub is probably the better experience, but I don't think the dub is without merit, is all I can say for that. When it comes to music, alright, so your boy Kenji Kawai is back for probably the first time, actually.
Is this Kenji Kawai's first thing?
I don't know if it's his
I don't
first,
think
it
it's
has
his
to be early
first.
in his career.
I think Perfect Blue came out before this.
Did it?
Yeah, and he did that too, I'm pretty sure.
God, how is Kenji Kawai so good? For those of you who don't know, Kenji... Oh my god, Kenji Kawai's
Yeah,
old.
he's done a lot.
Oh my lord.
His first thing is in like 1986 as far as anime and television goes.
Yeah, no, he's... Oh my god, I didn't know he was that old. Shit. Alright, well, learned new things today. Kenji Kawai is a music director, musician, he does a lot of anime stuff, and he's extremely, very good at it. I don't think I've heard, I don't think I've heard a Kenji Kawai soundtrack that I've been like, well, that was trash.
Well, I don't think he did do Perfect Blue.
No. He is responsible for the
Fate
Fate
Stay Night.
soundtrack. Yeah, he did Fate. He also did UBW for a good part of it. He did Higurashi, which, say what you want, the soundtrack was incredible. And I think the rest
he
of
did
the shows,
the
too.
UBW movie.
Yeah, but he was in charge of the Emiya track, which makes him my favorite human being.
Anyway,
Kenji Kawai version is incredible. Alright, so he
The
does that
music-
music.
the music's fantastic, and it's very tribal, which is like the opposite of anything that like cyberpunk that had come out at that point. Like there was like Blade Runner. Blade Runner's all synth and like heavy synth and bass, and then a little bit of drums, and then also competing with Ghost in the Shell. I had one on the top of my head and I lost it. Anyway, it's just got a different soundtrack than anything you'd expect. Go ahead.
I was doing some research into it, actually, because it struck me.
Akira,
Because it
sorry.
struck me as... Oh, Akira. No, Akira. I had a lot of Akira themes flying through my head when I was watching this movie. But it struck me as, like, fundamentally old Japanese. So I did some research. It's an ancient Japanese wedding song. Like, from when Japanese as a language was different than it is now, apparently. So it's that old.
Yeah.
But, yeah, he based it using a ancient Japanese wedding song, and that was the main track.
That's so sweet.
Yeah.
Because I feel like I've heard like similar tracks.
Katana Gatari.
Katana Guitar.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. so
Soundtrack's amazing. Soundtrack's
it's
phenomenal.
incredible, and it has a lot of meaning, too. I don't know. It definitely... I think, if you're going to talk about the directing of this movie, sound direction, animation direction, everything about it, top tier. Like, Ghost in the Shell is definitely a top tier movie, and if you came here to just listen to us shit on it, then, like, probably not the right podcast, I assume.
Also, since you mentioned animation, like, there were just times with, like, there's one scene the helicopter's, like, flying through some buildings, and it was, like, CG, but interesting looking. And, like, just some of the hair Major's hair movements just really impressed me for being a 1995 animation.
Oh, man, I'm so glad you brought that up. The CG. There's a moment I noticed especially where the Major just sits up. And, like, you can see the CG and the animation together. And quite frankly, it's probably the best CG I've seen. It's like when you're watching old Jurassic Park compared to new Jurassic Park. Where old Jurassic Park, like, the CG looks incredible, and you're like, wow. Then, like, the new stuff with CG in movies is like, oh, that's...
Wait, I thought
Oh,
old
you went a
Jurassic
little
Park
far.
was like entirely puppets.
Yeah, it's like
Oh, that's why.
animatronic.
Okay, see, that's
Oh,
why.
well, I mean,
That's
like,
why.
there was still the big things, like, that was all CGI.
Oh yeah,
Like-
I guess.
The
I'm
volume
pretty sure
of-
there's CG in that. I could be wrong. I'm pretty sure there's CG. But the idea is the same here, where, like... where Ghost in the Shell, like, seeing the CG, like, integrated in as they did it, with the tank, with the major, with, like, certain motions and actions, like, honestly, I thought it looked gorgeous and way better than most of the CG stuff that comes out nowadays. Where, like, the CG now is, like, almost too polished to the point where it just sticks out like a sore thumb.
As far as, like, the traditional animation is concerned, they still nail that down, of course. The opening scene where she, like, jumps off the roof and turns visible looks amazing. And I wanted to point out immediately after that, the opening credits scene where it shows her getting her new body. That's cool as hell too. And those are both traditional animation and not CGI, but very fluid. And they thought of, like, the inner workings of how the animatronics are supposed to move, and how the skin goes on, and how, like, they solidify the skin, and then how the skin, like, becomes lifelike. Yeah, it's sweet.
Oh boy. Alright, I think I want to move into the spoiler section. I don't think I want us to just go through the movie, like, chronologically, like we do with longer shows. With the movie, we can just discuss it, but with Ghost in the Shell, I kind of want the freedom to do that fully. Is everybody cool with that?
Yeah.
Alrighty, in which case, if you haven't seen the movie, go watch the movie. If you have seen the movie, stick around. I could give you the usual long spiel, but honestly, it would take longer than it would for you to just go watch the movie. So, spoiler section in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Welcome to spoilers. As always, one question. Best girl.
I mean,
Bato.
Major. Oh, okay, fair.
I knew Tom was going to yell Bato.
Bato is the best bro, man. He is the Garrus of 1995 cyberpunk. Like, he's your best friend. He's Motoko's best friend, and he's just cool as hell.
I agree.
Also, the main character of the second game. The second movie.
Second game, yep. Bato is super cool. See, I'm conflicted, because when the Major turns invisible, she's wearing thigh highs. And man, am I a sucker for thigh... No, of course it's Bato. I love Bato. Bato's incredible. I just love the fact where, especially in the last sequence, where he shows up and takes out the tank right before she dies. And he's like, "Yeah, I had to go get my gun. By the way, sorry, I'm late. I had to get my gun." Just the way he said it was like so like, wait, you know, you just like took out a tank, like saved her life. No, you're just gonna casually like, "Sorry, I'm late. I had to get my gun," but like almost
gun.
apologetic. It's great. What gun is that? Oh, it's a standard model, you know. It's a big
standard anti-material, right? Anti-material rifle thing.
Plus them being on the boat and like, it's weird because he was embarrassed about her changing, yet he's seen her naked like a bajillion times, but only in combat situations. So I really liked the kind of little bit of depth you got there that made him like more human than she was. Because she changed with the door open, like she didn't give a shit. But he looks away, which is, I thought it was weird, but also like kind of quirky, human, cool.
Yeah, and his eyes.
And his eyes are cool.
His dreamy
Tom's
eyes.
froze. Tom froze. We've lost Tom.
Oh.
Oh. Oh, so he did.
And his eyes, Thomas says, while becoming a robot. That was holding the longest still frame ever. Or hopefully he will reconnect.
Does Thomas have a soul?
What's your first Ghost in the Shell?
Does this unit have a soul?
Does Tom have a ghost?
Clearly not. Oh, there he...
Oh god, oh god.
Right,
oh,
oh
yeah,
no,
it's
oh
not
no.
for us.
Oh
Nope,
no.
nope. It's fine.
Oh,
Tom...
actually, this is kind of okay. Like, you guys are kind of still in the same positions. Kind
Alright,
of.
Yeah, and I'm gonna hit
I'll
the
take
call
it.
button just to make sure he stays here. Anyhow, yeah.
Sure, he'll
Oh, no,
reconnect
no,
if he
now
can.
it's bad.
Oh, it's gone. Yep,
Now
there
it's
it goes. It's fine.
Well,
We're
Steven's
fine.
okay. You're not.
I am incredible, and I can take up as many windows as I want.
You guys should look at the stream if you're not.
God. Sure, I'll pull it up while we're talking. But I want to keep moving on because how'd you guys feel about the reveal about the Puppet Master?
Dead silence.
I don't know. I don't know what to say. Honestly, like that was the point of the movie. Like, that was, I mean, kind of the climax. Or
this
at
game's not
least
bad at all.
leading right up to the climax. And yeah, Puppet Master's not actually human, is just an AI that gains sentience. Like, I think that was really cool, and it ties, like, you know, Major Kusanagi's thoughts together in a way. I don't know, that was just the point of the movie, you know? Like, AIs can gain sentience.
He was a
So,
very good foil to, the Major.
He was a perfect foil to the Major, and that's something I want to talk about too. The fact that he's an AI who gained sentience. So he is a robot who wants to be human, essentially. The Major is a human who struggles with her humanity because of how robotic she is. I wouldn't say she wants to be a robot, but she definitely struggles with how much robot she is. Put them together and you have about one functioning human being and one functioning computer. Instead of two half and halves, you have one full and full, if that makes sense. Essentially a god computer, but also a full human being with all of its flaws.
yeah.
And I really liked that, like, when paired together they become that, but when separate they were both conflicting characters, or conflicted, both.
I'm gonna try to hotfix this.
Alright, Alan's gonna hotfix Windows while we keep talking.
Okay, I can kind of do this.
You can do it, Alan. You
okay,
can do it.
You're good again.
right.
Thomas's screen is just gonna be you for a little bit though.
Perfect. I am two people in this podcast. I can talk to myself. I'm the only one who matters. How did I feel about this movie? You know what? I liked this movie.
Yeah, no,
Yep.
I absolutely loved it. Like, wait, are we like at the end already? Like,
No, I
I don't
was
know.
just joking that I could talk to
Well,
myself.
oh,
It's
okay.
fine. Clearly it fell flat, but you know what? That's fine. I know
Yeah,
I'm
it did.
hilarious.
Steven, can you go to your left a little bit?
like this?
Yeah, like that
Okay.
exact position.
Yeah, sure. So I think I wanted to kind of talk about the pacing of the movie. 'Cause
Yes.
I don't know, it felt very slow and kind of boring, but I also wasn't bored. Like, it was kind of a weird thing where I was like, okay, I feel like I should be bored.
There's a lot of world building,
But the world
yeah.
building isn't done through, like, any words or, like, even people. It's just done through, like, random shots of the world for, like,
Yeah, it's
3
just
minutes
like
at a time.
It's just showing the world. It's not like
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's a good point. Like, I kind of felt sucked into it, I think. And I think those, while on the one hand they seem kind of boring, like those 3-minute world building shots, where it just, like, plays music, pans around, and, like, shows scenes. I don't know, it did suck me into the world, so I guess it served its purpose.
Yeah,
Um,
no. It's very disconcerting, though. Could I say that? Like, you're in a
Yeah.
movie, and then suddenly you're not really in the movie, you're just seeing the world, and,
Yeah.
like, the fucking loud-ass, sorry about my language. The very loud, ancient Japanese wedding song is blasting for 3 minutes straight as you look at the world. Like, not that it's a bad thing, but it almost puts you off guard, which I feel like was kind of the point. At least for me, it just kind of... It hits you. It fundamentally, like, hits you with something completely different.
Yeah, and that's another thing, like, there wasn't really a whole lot going on for most of the movie. Like, they had
No.
a couple of, like, action-packed scenes.
And all of them amounted to nothing, except for, like, a little bit of
Yeah.
world building.
Yeah, like, it really felt like... It didn't feel like they were really working towards something for most of it. It felt like just kind of... things are happening, but we're not really sure what, in a way. Which
Yeah,
I
there's-
think can make sense in the context of the movie, because they didn't know who Puppet Master was, and he was just causing, hacking into other ghosts, that is. So, like, these were, in a way, all distinct events from each other.
So can we talk about probably the most heartbreaking moment? Is, when they're interrogating the guy and forcing him to, realize that he doesn't have a daughter or a wife,
Oh, yeah.
and that his brain's just been hacked.
Yeah.
yeah.
And then they tell him he can't get those memories back. Yeah,
Oh,
that
I should have used
pretty
his
heartbreaking.
face.
Oh, you actually should have. The picture with him and the dog.
Yeah. Or like the
Like-
face where they're like in the water, kind of, and like it just shows him like coming to realization. I don't know if it.
Oh, him crying.
Yeah,
No, that
I
was
did-
a different guy. I think that was a different guy they captured.
I don't want to dig too deep into philosophy here because, like, I feel like that's not the point, and it could go on for days,
No,
despite
let's
the
do
fact
it.
that this
Let's
was a
do it. Throw
philosophical
down.
movie.
Throw down.
But-
I'm ready.
That scene where they're telling him all that makes me wonder, like, was that the best thing to do, or was that like kind of showing like human cruelty in a way? Because they could have just not told him, and he would have lived the rest of his life believing he had a wife and daughter, probably.
And
Instead,
then what?
like now he lost.
That's almost crueler.
I don't know though, because like, if he believes that and has no way of knowing otherwise, sure. But instead, you've told him, okay, everything you believe is false, and you don't have anything that actually happened. You have none of that left. So now you're just, like I'm gonna just say like 30, 40-year-old person who has nothing and doesn't remember anything he did in life.
You know,
Whereas-
you missed it. You missed the chance. I thought you were gonna do it. Now you're just a ghost in a shell of a person. Come on, it was easy. Go on.
Fuck off.
Hey, that's a good point, though. Like, I don't know. I think it's pretty messed up that you actually tell this guy, "Hey, yeah, we can't restore your memory, but everything you do remember is fake. So, yeah, have fun starting life again anew, completely." I don't know.
Yeah. No, it
Like,
sucks.
do you think he'd be better off?
Better
Not
off
knowing?
talking to like nobody, thinking he had a wife and daughter when they don't
Yeah.
exist. Like that sounds worse.
I don't know. I'm not saying one way or the other. I'm just saying, like, it makes me think about that.
I think the truth is the kinder thing because he can like work to move on from it, but
That's
otherwise
true.
you're just kind of a captive to a fake world.
But he wouldn't know it.
But everybody else would. It's not like he lived in his own world. Is the problem?
Yeah.
Okay.
He would just be an insane guy.
It also,
Yeah.
like, I mean, what if he ever tried to, like, meet them?
Or like, his coworker had actually looked at the picture.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would have been really awkward.
Like that guy's world is going to be shattered one way or the other. They did it in the most controlled way possible, honestly.
I guess so. I don't know. It's
But it's
It's
stuff
pretty
like that
messed
that's
up.
terrifying. The idea that like somebody can just break into your brain. And the idea that technically speaking your memories and who you are could like be faked in this kind of world, Clearly the people who were faking it didn't put in enough effort, but
I mean, theoretically, everything like memories and everything in your brain is data anyway. So
Just electrical pulses.
So the idea it could be tampered with is actually terrifying. So I want to do a comparison here between this and Lane, because I think Ghost in the Shell is better than Lane.
oh yes,
I'm gonna put it out there,
like
in case anyone was wondering.
at one point towards the end of Ghost in the Shell, I was like, wait a minute, an AI has gained sentience. That's what this was all about. So it's like Lane, but actually makes sense in a way. Like Lane
That's
was
the
just
thing, yeah.
what is going on. Ghost in the Shell actually built up to it and made sense of the same
Well-
concept.
Yeah, that's the thing. The world building in this was fundamentally better, which is weird because it was a shorter runtime, right? By almost a quarter. And also, I wanted to point out the fact that while the internet had recently become a phenomenon for both Lane and Ghost in the Shell, Ghost in the Shell kept being sci-fi, whereas Lane tried to predict the internet in a way,
Yeah,
like really weirdly.
yeah.
Like one of them felt like, all right, this is a thing of the future, and the other one felt like we're not really sure what the internet is, but I mean,
There's probably a god inside of it or something.
I just feel like you have to compare the two because they're both around the same time period talking about the same thing, and yet both of them doing it so differently.
Yeah.
Also, update on Thomas. It looks like the internet for the town he's in is all resetting.
What?
Because
What?
he's in a school town. He's in a school town.
Oh.
So it looks like their entire network is, like, doing a thing. So he may or may not be able to make it by the end.
I have a puppy now. That happened.
What's the puppy's name? This is important.
This is Oreo.
Oreo.
He wanted to be on camera today, apparently.
Oreo, how do you feel about the Major?
And he was barking, so that's all we got.
He has feelings.
Yeah, so I was going to say something.
Sorry.
Not sure what it was. Oh yeah, I don't think I would want to watch the Ghost in the Shell show. Like, I don't know, the movie felt good, and I know, like, Standalone Complex is a different thing entirely. So I think there's probably more that can be done with the idea, certainly. But, like, if the show is just, like, an extension of the movie, I don't know. Like,
No, I
feel like I
don't
got
want
it.
an extension of the movie.
yeah.
I don't. And the show isn't that, to be fair. And
Okay.
that's also why people have problems watching the second movie, because it's an extension. You don't want that. The show is almost a different interpretation of the same
Yeah, from
works.
what I know of
Okay.
the show and from what little I've watched of it, I should like continue, but like I have watched a couple episodes. It seems like what they're trying to generally do the same thing, but in like a longer time span.
Yeah. That,
Kind
I mean,
of. I'd say there are differences, but
Well, like I said, I've only watched like a couple episodes, so I don't know. I don't even know what direction it would go in. But yeah.
I don't have time to do the entire show talk here. But I would say that there are definitely fundamental differences in not just the way that it's presented, but also the plot itself is a fundamentally different plot, to be honest.
Well, like when I say it's going in the same direction, I mean more like just the whole philosophical idea of it.
Oh yeah.
Like the actual plot is probably like it's not even probably, it will be different.
Mhm.
But
But you're
yeah.
saying it hits similar themes?
Like I'm pretty sure from what I know about it, the major, like it focuses on the same like sort of idea of the androids and like
The same dichotomy.
humanity. Yeah.
Yeah. For sure. That's a theme of their entire world. So no, it definitely does. I thought you meant like plot wise it would be the same, which is not true.
No.
Yeah, no, thematically it's similar, but I'd still say it has a few differences, but not enough that I would call it a completely different philosophical experience. No, you're right. All right. Well,
I think it's just like because they have more time, they want to like have more events and stuff that lead to the sort of thought process of it.
yeah, which I can fully understand, but I do think the world building of the movie it does the thing.
Yeah.
I like the movie better than the show, is all I'm going to say there.
Have you seen the show?
Yeah. That's
Oh.
why I was doing this thing.
that's basically what I was getting at. Like, having not even seen the show, I was like, I don't think I'd like this show. Like, I think the movie did it well.
I don't think it's right to say I wouldn't like the show though. You get a lot more
I-
out of it, but I'd like
Yeah.
the movie better. I think the movie is better. I think the show gives you more if you just want more Ghost in the Shell. How about
Yeah.
that?
I think what I'm trying to say is, like, the movie was pretty concise. Like, it really got its point across, I guess.
Weirdly
And-
paced, but concise. No,
I
you're
get-
absolutely right.
I guess, again, comparing it to Lane, I think Lane would have worked as a movie as well. But instead they're like, let's just make a large series out of this and, like, throw in a bunch of weird philosophy internet stuff that makes no
I
sense.
disagree
I
real
don't know.
fast. I think Lane couldn't have existed without being a long philosophical mess of confusion.
Maybe.
Otherwise, Lane would
But-
have been forgotten. Do you know why we know
Actually-
Lane today? Because Lane is a mess, and it's beautiful.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. Lane actually, yeah, it wasn't concise.
No,
I guess that would change the entire everything.
it wouldn't
Lane
even be
is,
Lane
but
anymore. Wouldn't even be Lane.
I don't know.
Would we still have a bear suit? I don't think so. Alright, one last thing I want to talk about before we move on, because we have actually done this for a bit. The fact, and Thomas brought this up, so I'm really bummed because I wanted to save this bit of conversation for him, but now he's kill. Is the fact that if the Major's been a robot, or a cyborg since she was like 9, right? And just wasn't thinking about it watching the movie, because it's been a long time since I've done anything Ghost in the Shell, and I do mean years. The idea that she was almost fundamentally worried about like her memories being faked since she became a robot or anything like that, or since she became a cyborg. And on one hand, I get it, because even though she's been a cyborg for so long, all of her other cyborg memories could still just be fake, or her human memories, or everything she is.
Mm-hmm.
But on the other hand, like, your relationships with other people haven't changed at all. The way people have treated you since you were a kid hasn't changed. Like, your memories, they gain nothing by changing your memories. And, like, your first 6 years, how important are they? I don't know. How do you guys feel about that? Because she hit on everything I just said in an elevator ride, but that was about 1 minute. So I wanted to see if you guys had anything to add.
I don't know how to respond. Like, I'm not sure what the question is, I guess.
Fair enough. How do you feel about her existential "Am I a robot?" if she's been a robot for so long, or a cyborg for so long?
I mean, she is a cyborg, to say the least. But I don't know. I think what's more important than that is the later conversation when I think they're on the boat and she's saying, "Oh, well, I am only human because I'm treated as human."
That was the
basically.
elevator I'm talking about.
Oh, that was the elevator?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, yeah, I mean, I think that makes a lot of sense. It's an issue of, like, self-identity versus, like, perceived identity, I guess.
Wait.
Oh, Thomas is back.
Oh, perfect.
Okay.
I really
Oh
wanted
my
him for this part.
God.
Hello, Red
Hold
Screen
on.
Tom.
Yeah, I can't even connect my... I don't know what's going on, man.
Oh, it's a good thing I put white text there with Thomas's name.
Perfect.
Well then. What was I saying? Like, yeah, she wants to stay in touch with her human side, but I don't know. Like,
I kind of
I
like
don't know
that
what to
idea.
say.
Like, trying to stay in touch with, like, the only time she was human, even though it was kind of brief. Or, like, fully
Yeah.
human. Tom, I actually just asked this question hoping you would show up for it, and you did, so that's really exciting.
You're so
If the
sweet.
Major's been a cyborg for so long, how do you feel about the fact that she, like, is worried that she's fake, considering that most of her life experience has been as that quote-unquote fake?
Sorry, can you repeat that? I finally got this working.
Woo, he's back! The Major's been a cyborg for, like, since she was a tiny child.
Mhm.
How do you feel about the fact that she's worried that she's fake, considering most of her life has been the quote-unquote fake version, as opposed to her, like, 6-year-old self?
No, I think that's highly warranted. I think that obviously if you live your entire life as a cyborg, you may start to think that what part of you even is human at all. And she says in it that the only thing that makes her ever feel human is how other people treat her. And she doesn't view herself as human anymore.
Oh, diving helps. But yeah, no, you're right.
Yeah, when you put it that way, though, like, I think, well, I don't know how Major would feel about it, honestly, but, you know, just because you're a cyborg, she's also aware, you know, she's self-aware, so she still has that bit that makes her human, which I think was in the last, like, basically the final scene as well, like, the
It's why she
issue
was
of-
so obsessed with trying to find the ghost in the Puppet Master.
Yeah, but what I'm saying, I think that's the entire issue. Like, what separates AI from human is self-awareness, consciousness, and so she definitely has that. That she can even have this existential crisis. So I wouldn't even say living as a cyborg is like a fake life. I think maybe that's what she's struggling with instead.
But also, what's the connection between her and the AI? Because he starts talking to her, and what if it's just that he can't tell a difference between himself and her, and
But he
it's only
can.
together? Can he?
Well, yeah, he knows that she's
Yeah.
different than he is, but he also thinks that they're very similar. They're two sides of the same coin. I touched on it. Maybe your laptop had already died at that point, or your internet. But I touched on it a little bit ago, where it's he is a robot, but who wishes to be human. She is a human who is like fundamentally doubting her humanity in the face of being an augmented human, in face of being a robot for all intents and purposes. So both of them are about half human, half robot, but coming from two different sides of it.
Mhm.
And then when you put them together, you get one human and one robot, but like both are the same. Like, but they're both whole. Both sides of their identities are whole, as opposed to the splintered lives they've been living.
Interesting.
So I think while the puppet master knew that she was different, he also knew that when they came together, they would become the same. They'd become one. Like, I think he knew that she was the right one for it.
Sounds good.
I thought that was a really cool, like, paralleling between them, alright? I thought it was
Yeah, no,
awesome.
I agree.
I'm not good at picking apart all the philosophical stuff. If you
Guys.
can tell.
It's me. I'm the
Yeah.
worst at it on every podcast. I'm now participating, and now I'm the crazy one. I give up. I quit. Also, we've been doing this for like an hour. Welcome back, Tom, for the last 5 minutes. Do you have any final thoughts?
My final thoughts are nothing like this should be happening as far as computer setup is concerned. I'm connected to the Ethernet. I'm plugged into the wall. Like, what? And I
Well-
still can't connect to the Ethernet. That's my thought on this. I'm upset.
You clearly are connected to the internet.
Yeah, what
I-
you're talking about.
I'm connected to the Wi-Fi, the school's Wi-Fi right now, but that took me so long to get set up for some goddamn reason. And I'm connected. I'm still connected in the wall, but I'm not getting the Ethernet. Sorry. All right, you guys.
Tom's thoughts. Internet
So-
garbage movie.
Recommendations, I
Oh,
suppose.
I recommend it. It's a great movie. I love it. It's like my third favorite movie at this point. It used to be
It
my
goes
favorite.
down every time.
It used to be my favorite. Now it's like Perfect Blue and it's Red Line.
Oh, Redline was so good. Can we just do Redline again? I know we did Redline last year. Can we just do it more?
No.
Can my choice just be Redline?
It's so good.
Do you recommend it?
Yes, I would recommend it highly. I really, really enjoyed watching this movie. Like I said, the pacing was weird, and it didn't feel like a lot was happening, but I was never really bored. I enjoyed it. I would highly recommend it.
I'd recommend it as well. The atmosphere really pulls you in. The themes of the movie are really interesting. Like, there's not much to really hate about the movie.
There's not. I don't think you can really dislike Ghost in the Shell.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was just well crafted.
For sure. Alright, is that up to me? I'm gonna also give it a strong never recommend. No, yeah, it's a recommendation. It's a super great movie, and you guys have been with me on this podcast for a while, everybody who's watching as well. You guys know I'm terrible at philosophical crap. I'm so bad. I'm the worst at it. And yet, I've been the one who talked the most on this one, mostly because Thomas was dead. But still, like, the movie really does evoke thought and a beautiful atmosphere and a world, and it's an incredible experience. I also recommend watching Akira at the same time, or like not the same exact time, but like watch Akira as well if you're gonna watch this. Watch Evangelion probably, which we're gonna do soon. Fun fact. Watch like that. Those like weird 90s like trying to evoke philosophical thought or trying to evoke themes anime. While some of them do it better than others, and I'm actually gonna go out on this limb and say Ghost in the Shell is the best of everything I just said on that one. The fact that they all began to do it really, really, like, it changed how anime is and looks and acts and feels. So yeah, do it. Watch Ghost in the Shell. And with 4 recommendations, I hope you guys are sold. Now, on to next week. Steven, I believe it is you who is the choice of movie. Except we kind
Yeah.
of took it away from you after you said something, and then we stopped making you wait.
After I pointed something about the movie out.
Oh yeah. Okay. So I decided we should watch Blame, the new Netflix original anime. I put it in quotation marks because it's apparently all CG, which I was not aware of when I selected it. I just was like, "Hey, new anime movie on Netflix. Let's just do that," because I know nothing about it.
All right, so none of us
I'm
know
interested.
anything about Blame.
Nope.
Though,
And
is
I
it-
don't intend. I don't intend to look it up prior. I'm going in completely blind. By
I have no
choice.
idea what it's about.
So is it a Netflix original, or is it like what Knights of Sidonia did, and it's only published in America by Netflix?
Oh, that's a
I'm
good
pretty
question.
sure it's Netflix original. I can look into it very quickly.
As we all
But I-
searched it at the same time.
Yeah,
yeah,
it's a
Netflix
Netflix
original.
original. Yeah,
Okay.
Good time.
but it's by the same people as Knights of Sidonia. It's Polygon Pictures. So
Which has some good stuff under their belt and some really atrociously bad stuff under their belt.
Yeah,
So,
I love Merlin.
We'll
fingers
see.
crossed.
we'll see.
I'm not
I'm
sure which way my
excited.
fingers are crossed for, but I want this to be memorable. Damn it, one way or the other.
It's new. That's all I know.
All right, and because this is movie month, we will be back next week with it. So that'll be exciting. Get pumped. Is today Wednesday, by the way?
Yeah, it is.
Today is Wednesday.
I
we
have
typically do these
things
on
I need to
Mondays.
do. Yeah, that's unfortunate. All right, well, hope you guys all enjoyed, and I guess we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.
Catch
Bye.
you later.
Bye.